Thank you again so much for joining me in this video series. I am still trying to figure out what type of content would work for this channel, so what do you guys enjoy seeing? The 10 Hidden Gems series, longer playthroughs of indie games, dev commentaries, any other ideas? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, leaving a like to the video and channel is a huge help. Enjoy the video. I am really surprised to see the low attention Beacon apparently gets. It's a tactical twin stick shooter, meaning it's not as frantic and visually overwhelming as some of its genre brethren, but instead gives you a plethora of tools to control the flow of combat. It looks gorgeous, has some frankly insanely interesting ideas and themes like splicing enemy DNA into yourself for progression, has some very cool level progression and exploration mechanics, and just very good sound design. It is easily one of the most underappreciated games I looked at in a while. So Lenna's Inception is simply amazing. In a sea of Zelda clones, it manages to iterate and invent a completely unique niche for itself. It's not one massive adventure, but rather a slice of adventure that you can relive multiple times, which will allow you to play and experience the game in very, very weird and intentionally glitchy ways in sequential playthroughs with different maps and different rules. Not only does the story throw surprising ideas at you that seriously intrigue the player to push forward, but the amount of replayability, randomly generated dungeons and endless content makes this a ridiculously great value. This one caught me a bit off guard. Midboss is a rather challenging roguelike with a very cool and unique mechanic of possessing other monsters, which drastically changes up your moves and abilities as you move along the floors. The death cards are another great idea. They save your previous run as a character card that you can equip for the next run, making for constant progression. The UI is a bit weird sometimes, but the Disgaea style humor and the deep tactical gameplay easily convinced me. You will find it hard to put it down once you started it. It took me a while to wrap my head around new Cartographer. It's not a game everybody will appreciate, as it doesn't have any instructions and seemingly no directions. However, the game is actually more than just a pretty cartography tool. It is like an alien piece of technology nobody gave you instructions for, and you are tasked to understand its mechanisms while the world you are looking at starts to take shape. It's a truly wonderful little puzzle game and experience. Parallax is a stupidly pretty 3D puzzle platformer with portals, with more intricately designed puzzles as the game goes on. It is focusing more on exploring very few puzzle mechanics instead of a million ideas across its different worlds, so it's missing a bit of that inventive spark and variety that games like Portal have, but the game is so ridiculously pretty, especially in motion, that it's just enjoyable to work yourself through the levels and watch the inverting colors pass you by while using your grey brain matter. Shipwreck is a pretty cool little Zelda-like game. It is a bit rough around some edges, but as I continued playing it, it got better and better, and its open world with different abilities and secrets, classic Zelda-style rooms, puzzles and enemies, and a cute art style are just incredibly convincing and just a pleasure to play. Really good stuff. Switch and Shoot is a super addictive high score game controlled with just one button that steers the ship left and right. If I wouldn't have an endless amount of indie games I need to get to, I would easily fall down this endless rabbit hole. I wish it had a bit more of everything, like minor unlocks, reskins, modes and any of the other typical content hooks, but it's still just stupidly fun. I love my simulation games, and Vilmonic falls right into that. Some of you will hate it, but it's hard for me not to love what they were going for here, with evolutionary theory being used as the basic game mechanic. It is a very deep evolutionary sandbox rabbit hole where animals evolve by reacting to the environment with visual changes on their own body. Different colors reference different characteristics, while the size of the body surface area shows how much water they might need, for example. Not everyone will appreciate it, but if you love to explore deep game mechanics and simulations, this might end up being very, very interesting to you. Visual Out is a highly intriguing Metroidvania with an AI theme. It is intentionally obtuse and has a very large world that you need to explore before having even an inkling of an understanding where you might be able to go, with almost every room chipping away at your health if you aren't careful enough. It has a ton of mysteries and upgrades that make you want to continue exploring while you get to listen to the fantastic ambient soundtrack. Walden is a fascinating exploration of nature in video games by retreading the steps of American writer Henry David Thoreau and his exploration of Walden Lake as a slice-of-life game. You find wood to build the cabin, inspect animals, read some information on local wildlife and nature, but it's not really a survival game. It's more akin to a walking simulator with some added goal-oriented game mechanics and a light story around Thoreau's contemplative adventure. This really is a fascinating experiment to transform a writer's experience into the medium of video games. Thanks again so much for watching. As always, building up a new channel from scratch is impossible without your support. So if you enjoy the content, leaving a like or subscribe to the YouTube channel or Steam curator list would help me immensely. Thank you again, have a great week.